Quarter cabinet, it's 2 feet and 2 feet, and it's at an angle. So if you can imagine that piece here, and then it's going to be cut off here. So it'll be 1 foot in, 1 foot in, and then diagonal. That's for reference. So I got to connect these two together. I decided to use these biscuits. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to use biscuits, and I need to double check, but I believe that the top is recessed, meaning there's a frame and then a 1/2 inch gap underneath. So I'll probably put a piece of wood in across here and glue that and then screw that. But I need this to be somewhat flat, and these will work well for doing that. So I'm using this tool. So basically, I squeeze the trigger and it spins that blade, and that blade, I use this fence, and then I push this in, and then the blade, it comes out. But I have to hit the power without turning it on, so turn the power off, hit the thing, and then this will give you a better idea. So basically it comes out like that, and then that blade right there cuts the slot. So we get a slot like that, and then you set the height of the fence, and you can set the angle. We're doing 90 degrees. So, and then I'm doing a 20, which is the size of the biscuit. So this biscuit should just fit right in there. And they fit in a little loose. And this is compressed wood, so the wood glue will expand the fibers and lock it in. Of course, it'll be glued. So we'll go ahead and do that last. Well, we did all three here. And then I got to do the next piece over there, and then I glue it together. What I'll probably do is I'll put glue all the way along this edge. I'll probably put it on top of here. I'll put that down to keep the glue off the table, because, you know, liquid and steel don't mix very well, especially cast iron that's not treated very well. But this will give me a flat surface, so I'll lay some heavy things on there, and then I'll clamp the sides. If I just clamp the shit out of the sides, it's gonna fold up, which would be bad, because I want it flat. But I got my glue thing. I had a little glue explosion. You can tell the glue bottle, which is now filed in that circular reference right there, was leaking severely and made a little glue puddle. Pulled the hole there. Oh, great. So, yep, we'll be done in a few minutes, and we'll let that sit overnight. I took the clamp off of this, if you remember from last week, that this had separated. So I glued it, let it sit, and I also put a bunch of wood filler in here, which I'll sand down. This is just to make sure I get a nice fluid surface. The smoother the surface for the cherry edge banding, the better. And I've been looking at my tool over here. This says laminate trimmer. It's got that little razor blade in there. It's designed to slide along and cut the laminate. But then I'm looking at this. That doesn't look like laminate. That looks like edge gluer. So I'm going to try that again. See if that works. I mean, that does not look like laminate. That looks like laminate, but not that. It looks like exactly like what I'm using. Well, this is the first time I've ever done edge banding, so, you know, I'm learning in my old age. Also notice I have some more birch over here, pre-glued, and some more birch. So I got this in a estate sale. Estate sales are handy for that kind of stuff. Those are expensive. Yeah, so anyhow. Work. I could clamp it on one side, but it wouldn't flip. See, I did at least get the glue on the painted steel here. So we moved out to this plan. So this seems to be working. The wood was curving up at the edge, so I needed to get those two together. So we got the clamp there, and then I got this piece of wood holding it in. So we'll just walk away and let that sit. I think I'm gonna do the edge band tomorrow. Call it a night. These bench things come in handy for holding things up while you're staging things. Good for painting too. Since I just need to attach that edge banding and finish that. That's not a big deal either way. This is gonna slow me down. It's hot in here with that. Unfortunately, this thing's either got three modes. Completely off, pilot light, or on full. I wish it had like a heat regulator there, but you don't. But she's 100% efficient. All the heat, including the exhaust, goes right in here and heats the room. I don't know what size this room is. She's 24 by, I think 12. It's not very big. That's 750 square feet, so I guess it should be 250 square feet because the whole thing's 1,000 square feet. It's math. Making their dinner. She's already, seats over there in her dish. She's just hanging out, waiting for the food, right, Minnie? It's a guilt trip. But I gotta go to work. Gotta go move some snow. I think we'll use a snow blower. They've eaten half that container in 2 days. There's two. We get the big boys out. 2 shovels. And a cat. They barely booze. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Jeez. Wish I had half the hardware, even a fourth. In this case. Habitat for Humanity. I dropped off 3 boxes and bought some. So what do we get? We got a Marples, which is an English brand normally. Sheffield, England. 1/2 inch, but it's got the pounder on there. This has seen some better days, but it does turn on. It does work, and it does a metal scan and has a backlight. It's better than the one I have. $3. These are Velcro, 60 grit, so these are handy. And they cost a lot more than $3. Then the big one, I normally don't go looking for these, but this is $10. And I picked up all the toolboxes they had to see if they were heavy, and this one was heavy-ish. So, get one of those straps for Phillips furniture, rats. Ironically, a stud finder. This is old school. She's got a magnet. When it finds a nail or a screw, it does that. So you can find studs easily, the old-fashioned way. The assumption is if you have a nail in there, you're going to be in a stud. That's kind of nice. Dowels. You got this little cute tray here. This is a dowel maker. You drill that in and it makes plugs. Drill stop. Another leveler. Not another one. This is kind of cool. Pencil sharpener. But then we got more. I don't know if they noticed this toolbox, which is worth $10. You got a tape measure holder for your belt. Brand new belt set. Ooh. Grinder. More of those. Brand new file. And this is what initially got me, is you could always use a dovetail or a plug jig. I don't know what this is, but it looks fancy. Oh, I know. I think I know what this is for pounding. I don't know what that is. Keyhole saw. This looks cute. All sorts of good stuff. More pegs. Replacement. So yeah, I think I got my $10 worth. Maybe a little more. What is this? This is a compass of some sort. I don't know. And I think this goes with this to hold the wood in there. Wolfcraft is pretty good. So, yeah. Oh, we got 2 of those. And this box. Yeah, I thought that little pencil sharpener and the handle thing was really cute, so we'll just put that there. We'll probably ironically be donating the toolbox, or maybe I'll give it to my father. I think he needs one. Gonna have to rearrange this because she ain't right. It just sits on top. Okay. It's still 20 degrees. It's supposed to snow more tonight, so that's great. It's Friday night, and me and the pups are going for a drive to Middlefield. There's a salvage store that has some good stuff. And there's some things, you know, carbonated water doesn't spoil. A dented can isn't going to ruin my day. So then we're going to go Harbor Freight. They're having a sale, and I want to pick up a couple of things cheap. So, yeah, that's my exciting Friday night. And occasionally the dogs don't sit right in front of me, in front of the windshield, and I can see what's going on. So that's good. I went to this place over Christmas. It's called Kurt's Discount Groceries in Middlefield, and they have a lot of expired stuff. I bought all this for $30. So these were a quarter piece LaCroix. Can't go bad. This was a quarter pineapple sparkling. Cereal. Again, can't go bad. Hot sauce, 50 cents. Sriracha. That can't go bad. Butter that's dairy-free for Joe. Might have that tonight. Whole bean dark roast and Intelligentsia Black Hat. This stuff's really good. This is normally like $15 or $50. Now, are these close to expiration? Yes. Do I care? No. My wife is organizing, and the way she organizes, she takes everything out of the cupboards and makes a complete fucking mess, and then slowly puts it away. Anyhow, bread, need that. These are gluten-free, dairy-free, corn-free cookies and tortillas. Obviously not corn-free. That goes for later for snacking. Sage, a whole bunch of sage. That was a quarter. No, sage, 50 cents. Cheese, pepper jack. I like that. This is for work. Oatmeal. That's a new flavor for me. Breakfast cookie. I like breakfast. I like cookies. So this would be interesting. There's $1.99. I'm sure it's full of preservatives. And then I got a bunch of these. So as I make dinner at least 3 times a week, and I usually use the oven, my wife likes these. These are normally $8 a package. These are $1.50. And again, I checked. They're not expired, but they're gluten-free, dairy-free, blah, blah, blah. There's 12 cookies. So there's 36 cookies. Just toss them in the oven, make them fresh. And I got some for me. Double chocolate cherry. Yeah, how can you go wrong there? So yeah, $30. What I really went for, ironically, was I wanted to get a case or two LaCroix because I got addicted to it about 4 years ago. But they didn't have, but they had the individual. So this will carry me over until I get to a place where I can buy a case of this stuff. So we're going to work on that tomorrow. But first, we're going to work on screwing that down, and then we'll cut that one to length, and then we'll put the other one there and be done with that. Next is the outlets. I think I'm going to start with an outlet up there. She wants an outlet with USBs to plug in that. And there's a light over there. Maybe even put the Echo up there. That'd be kind of handy. Get her out of the way so you can see her. This is just the top. Actually fairly impressed. So I got some plugs for screw holes. Some regular plugs, birch and whatever that is, not birch. Forest City, that's a long time ago. That's been like 30 years. My parents used to shop there. It was like a Home Depot before Home Depot. Then we got the strap. I found a carbonation stone, so this is a sharpening stone combination because it's got a really fine and coarse. A couple paint brushes. I'll give those to Joe. Screw RN. You use this to make the hole tapered, so you can screw it in. Spare blade for a linoleum or duck bill blade. These are handy, so if you're doing dowels, you can put holes on one board. You slide these in, and then you press the other side up against it. So like if I was doweling like this, of course I didn't use dowels. So you'd have the holes there, slap this in there, and then that tells you where the center of the other side is going to be. Not sure what I'm gonna do with those. The bill to the duck. Oh, never even thought of that. So these work on a regular knife. Very interesting. Oh, that makes sense for Stanley knives. Some coping blades. I'll use those. There goes to Joe. Some more string. Chucky. And these are the collets to put these on the drill bit, and they stop the depth. Then we got some drywall screws. No, Handy Andy. Handy Andy is what Forest City, I think, became. That's amusing. No, these are just dowels. These are for big dowels. It's different. More plugs. Tape measure thing. Than that we had before. And a drill bit. Very small drill bit. 1/8 inch. Right in there. You know, I'll go ahead and open this. Another blade in the top when I was clearing it out. Where to begin? So this is the level that you put on a string, but it has increments, so you can set a pitch. So like if you're doing a drain, you can set like a 5 degree, blah, 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 depending on where that bubble goes. Obviously brand new. Drill bits, brand new, never opened. Oh. And that, we will open that. Some pegs, so you can drill a hole and put these in and hand your coat. I think this is part of this. Seems like we're missing something. Probably this. Look at that later. Keyhole saw. Well, these are the blades, and these are the other blades. Don't know where the saw part is, but we got the blades. Surfform insert. Gain Craftsman, brand new. Oh, good. The instructions for this. A Surfform that looks like it's never been used. These are handy. Didn't see this before, but a Fosner bit. Again, looks like it's never been used, never opened. So we'll go ahead and put this right over here with the others. I think I even have a hole. I do. There we go. She looks like she's at home. Okay. More dowels, and ironically, these are getting closer to the size. This size fits this. So this is a dowel pin. That goes there. Some more dowels. I have a dowel organizer in here. One of those two. I bought this at an estate sale. So this is for if you use your angled screws, pocket screws. These are the little pieces you would slide in and then to cover the hole if the pocket hole was exposed. So they're pocket hole plugs, a whole bunch of those, and different types of wood. And then over here, there's a whole bunch of stuff for short burn. No, not that. These are blanks for making your and parts for making pens. So in fact, there's pen kits in here. Obviously, I haven't used these yet. Someday I will. But you can make your own pen on your lathe. That one's a little big for this. But it's got the drill bits and to make the holes. It's got, where the heck those are, bushings. I don't, European bushings. I'm not even sure what these are for. They're from Woodcraft, so they're for woodworking. These are the brass. No, it's to make a ball bearing yo-yo. So I can make a yo-yo. That's the yo-yo instructions. That's good. This is pretty fancy. I think these are already blanks for sliding on a pen. I don't know. Anyhow, that's the other side. So we'll dig around. I think I've got, yeah, I've got up here, doweling pin things. So we'll just file that, see, dowels and biscuits up there. So there we go. I got to sort through this because I have like 6 of these down. I've used a couple that I really like. This one's pretty good. What's this? Oh, it's a file, a round file, brand new. We talked about this, and it's called chalk line for a chalk box. Man, those look abusive. Grit 24. Okay, now I don't know. I have to open this up. So, oh yeah, remember, $10. So, can't really complain about that. This has got a lot of things going on here. And what he doesn't have is doesn't have the drill bit. And I can tell. Well, interesting. So we got the blades, but we're missing the saw. I like the holder, that's nice. We got what looks to be most of the kits. Got those. I actually have that drill. So this one's, yeah, I'll have to dig through here and see what we're missing or not. I have all the parts. So these, you got the 3 separate parts to come in. Well, this is on there, but this one comes off, this one comes off, this one is in there. So this is that. So what you can do is you can take a board and then make your holes. This is a better picture. And then this allows you to align the other side, I guess, while you're doing it. I'm not quite sure. Looks like, yeah, you would do the hole and that's at a right angle. So this has different scenarios that you can do. If you're doing like a T, a right angle, or a flat, the board up against the board. And I guess this allows you to do a hole here, or a different size, but align the top and bottom boards at the same time. Not quite sure why there's slottage up there, but yeah, $10 is worth it. So this does not look like it's any weird near this. This has nothing to do with this. I don't know what the heck this is. I'm gonna have to use the Google search engine. Okay, then the beam curd. So use a 1/2-inch dowel rod, PVC metal tubing is the beam. Okay. That hole doesn't look like 1/2 inch. If we had a measure, I guess it is a 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is the middle, and you got your point, and then wherever your bar length is, that's your pencil. So I think I'll put this together and maybe tape that out there. It'd be handy to have. So that's kind of interesting. And then as long as your bar is, as long as your circle, or big as your circle. So, yeah, this got me. On the short screws I needed that I want to use to install these top shelves on, and went up here to look at it, and I see what I've done here. So I pushed this piece when it was square back, and then drew a line and then cut it. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that I wasn't all the way back in the corner on the support. So as you can see, I'm not there. So this one, ironically, I need to cut a little bit. See how the wall hits here and goes in, so the wall's not straight. Probably blame myself because I built that wall, but yeah, this I can fix because that's a reduction. This is an additive. So I got to go figure out how to add a 1/2 inch strip across here because I really want it to be supported in the back. Now I could just say F it and put some screws in here and pulling it down, but then it's just kind of floating in the back, and she wants to put stuff up here. So yeah, the other approach, which I don't like, is to remake this piece of wood. which I may end up doing anyhow. I'm not exactly happy how this came out, but in the meantime, I guess the other approach should be a short-term thing, just to put a little spacer, half-inch spacer on the underside of this. But then I'm resting this on top of there versus on top of the plywood, which is screwed into the wall, which is preferred. I think I can just take a half-inch strip and do the same thing, biscuit joint it all the way around, and that's probably what I'm going to go do. Meanwhile, it's nice and snowy outside, which is unmotivating in of itself. Container, got this from an estate sale. Guess it wasn't really running that low as I thought. We'll go ahead and transfer these into there, make a little room for this. I remembered, well, I had to take 2 pieces of wood together, so what I need is this plywood in that width or a long strip. But maybe I have the plywood downstairs. The other thought I had, which I'm quickly coming on, is just to take something like this and cut this down to size and use this instead. This is not the same thickness, but you see I got pieces like that. I want one piece because this is the way I am. Okay, so we're gonna dig around. Hey, I can cut that. Nope, that's a shelf. Because initially I thought, I'll just cut a piece off here. That's 12 inches, but it's 12 inches on the sides there, but we don't need to add the sides. We need to add to the back corner. So, yeah, I can take a long strip like this. The thing is I know I had to have cut that off because I made it the right size and then cut the end off. So somewhere in here are the pieces, but I may have broken them in half and threw them in here. So, yeah, we went to the Harbor Freight and bought this for $37. I hope to be able to successfully use this to spray the metal panels. So basically just set a whole bunch up, spray them, and then keep going. I tried rolling and brushing, and it takes forever, and then you get the brush marks. I got this. This is $4. It's one of those lead shot hammers. Good for beating on things, different sizes. I actually went to get the more expensive one, the nicer one, but I'm like, this ain't gonna break, and this will work just fine. So this is where I put it up against the one that I already have. I do have a lead hammer. Oh yeah, I like that one. So we'll just put that there. Bought another set of these. I like these. When these are on sale, they're up to $12. It used to be $9. They have all the bits. I don't know what's preventing me from opening it. It's probably this. I'll use this little handy knife here. I got one upstairs, and I'm not sure when I put this back if I'm going to put it next to the one I have down here. I don't see one here. I keep my drill bits over there. So yes, these are the handiest of all drill bits because they'll go at a drill or a driver. These are pretty nice. Why? Oh, I'm still getting stuck by the packaging here. Tapeage. Maybe I can just pull the tape off. I'll just self-edit this out. I got a handful of label shit. So these just pop right out. You can see they're one-handed. They're pretty easy. Got little ones, big ones, blah, blah, blah. And this flips out. And you got big drill bits. So these aren't very good for metal, but they're great for wood. And usually wood is what I'm dealing with. Why that doesn't close? That's great. This little thing goes in there. This little thing goes in there. What the fuck? Anyhow, got that. Then they had gloves on sale. No, you're thinking, well, you just got that case of gloves out of the trash. Well, yeah, I do have a case of these, and I have 3 less boxes. These are great for just covering your hands if you're doing like painting or staining. You need something thicker when you're working on cars. So we upgraded. We got some thicker gloves. They're green. And this magnetic holder. I've been looking at this for years. That was on sale for $9. It's only $15. And I just said, screw it. It'd be nice if the boxes they sold actually held the... That would be great. Why? How? I'll cut a piece of wood and put in there. So yeah, I think that's... we got yes. So... The doggies like going there. They're always welcome. That's amusing. It shows a Harbor Freight box. So I think the Harbor Freight gloves would fit in there. Those are Hardy gloves. Oh, those aren't Harbor Freight. Anyhow, yep. So the other issue, as I was coming in with that piece of wood, is that we got a code red on the bird feeder. I filled this up Wednesday, and yeah, she's empty. So we got to go deal with it. I Googled on it. This is a seal. So if you have wire underground it's that size, you cut the size off here and you slide this in, and then this is supposed to be at the end of the line to help keep stuff from getting in or out of the underground conduit. Yeah, I'm struggling with, I thought it was some sort of plumbing temporary something, I don't know, because it's got the sizes on there. I think we're gonna donate those. I don't see a need for that. So for the bird seatage, we just take our currently not being used bucket for washing the car, and then we take some cheap bird seed, we mix it with some mealworms. See, birds like it, you can tell. It's great for chickens too. And we mix it and then we plop it in there. Still trying to get the process. I think I'm going to end up using a Tropicana jug that's easy to pour. We'll just hold it and pour it over there. But we definitely got to deal with that. We are back in business and we're charging. At least I hope we're charging. It's got a USB-C on the back. If needed, I could give it a supplemental charge, but I don't want to take that down. And I'd have to run a cord to it, so let's hope the solar does. His job is to move all this because Sophie's boyfriend's coming and we're going to drain the tranny fluid. It's in that box, reduce some clutter. So I got to get this out of here and yeah, clean up the snow. And so yeah, organization today. Get rid of stuff and make room for the stuff. We just found the scrap downstairs in the basement. I think what I'm dealing with is metric versus English. This is just like fraction, like 0.5 millimeter too thick, but it doesn't matter. It's on the back. So I'll go ahead and run some strips. As you can see, it's gonna be long enough on that side and the other side. And then I'm gonna overlap. So I guess I'll figure out which one's gonna be longer. And want to get this done and glued up and let it rest for an hour or two while I deal with the other stuff. My big goal today is to get these installed and be done with it. Definitely this weekend, but I'd like to get it done today. Move on and some cleanup. Still don't know what this is. Okay, that locks it in there. Yeah, you're gonna have to do a Google search. It's gonna look something like that. I'm still on the fence whether I'm gonna bother with biscuits. Yeah, maybe I will. They just make biscuits do a couple things. They have more surface area for the glue, but they also provide up and down because they become a binding point, a shear point. So for this to break off of there on a heavy load, it's got to also take care of this, although it could pop out. There's not a lot of meat here, obviously. But we're definitely going to glue it. Definitely going to shoot some nails in there. Not the nails just hold it together while it dries, but yeah, let's do the biscuits. Only issue with the biscuits is, well, not a problem on getting the biscuits. There are 3 different sizes. These are smaller, there's 20. I think these are 10, and then these are 5. Yeah, this should be 1, 2, 3 per side. I gotta find the biscuit joiner, the biscuit slicer. I think it's one of these again. This is why I moved everything, because I think it was in there over here because I had to get to there. But so lots are done. This is a little hairy because it's hard to hold this piece, and because this is deeper than this is tall, I couldn't just hold it down and go like this. I had to raise it up a little bit, but she done. So glue up time, and we'll get some coffee and breakfast. Yeah, well, it's been a week. It's still holding pressure. I think I left it at 60, but still much better. If you were thinking, what's inside of a BMW CV axle? Well, this one I was told I could get rid of, recycle. So let's take it apart. First of all, it starts down here. This goes inside the transmission, and there's a clip right here. This keeps it from popping out. It takes a good force knocking that way. This whole part, in the BMW's case, is inside the transmission shell. I think there's a differential there because this is front-wheel drive, and it electrically turns on and off the front-wheel drive. Then you got your CV boots. These keep the grease and decontaminants on one side. I've already taken the clamps off of this. These are stainless steel clamps. They're just kind of crimped in there. Enhance. And then this is one end. Now this is the outside end. This is what drives the hub, which the wheel's attached to. Unenhance. And then this is the threaded part that I use to keep it from falling out and bashing on. So basically, these are called constant velocity, meaning basically no matter which way it turns, it's always going to spin the same amount. So it spins 1 revolution per minute here. It's going to spin 1 revolution per minute here, regardless of where it goes. So this will come apart. And you can see there's ball bearings in a cage that allows it to rotate partially, and then the outer cage can rotate even more. And what you can't see right now, there's grooves in here. So the ball can only go this way in respect to this part. And the same thing in here, there's grooves in here. So you rotate this a certain way, and you use a impact device. I already took off a lot of the glue here. Probably gonna have to put this down, but basically you hit this at the right part and she comes apart. This one's similar, but this one slides back and forth because as the wheels are going up and down, the axle needs to slide in and out. And that's why this long part's here. So whereas this is very short and there's very little play here, this side's much longer and allows it to move back and forth. So this is actually the more interesting side. We'll go ahead and pop this apart and, you know, because why not play some grease? I already got some of the grease out. I'm going to keep the boutes. I'll probably keep this. Oh, and this is your ABS ring. So basically it's using the Hall effect, which means a coil passed by metal very quickly will produce a pulse as it goes. Metal, not metal, not metal, metal, metal. And this is in pretty good shape. It's stainless steel and painted. A little bit of rust here. But basically it can sense how fast this wheel's going and then know all 4 wheels. And obviously one wheel's going significantly slower than the others or stopped. That needs to have no brakes, or the brakes let off, rather. And that, it's just very simplistic. And then traction control is the same way. If these wheels are moving faster on this side, it assumes it's turning or it's slipping, and it applies the power on the inside, or vice versa. And there's other stuff for traction control. Angle meters where the flow is, so if it's flowing out here, it knows it's turning this way, blah, blah, blah. There's computers involved, and math, and trig, and also now, I think I could slide these off this side once I take this apart. This is a completely different look. Different grease, or it's contaminated, I'm not sure which. These just rotate around, and you saw how they slide up and down. These obviously have bigger, they're not balls, they're rotating sleeves. But again, these don't rotate normal. They're just sliding back and forth. That's the, so they're not moving like 3,000 RPM or anything. Very dirty. We're gonna let that drain someplace environmentally. Well, this turns out it comes off with a clip. Enhance. It will pop open. Whoa. By the fact there's white paint in there, I think that means this has been rebuilt. And these have clips too. They're enhance. In here, I think right there you can see there's a enhance. We're not going to take that apart, but we'll take this off, because once this comes off, then I can slide these off. And this is what I'm going for, the boots, in case I ever need torn boots. So slide right off. It's weird how, I guess it's supposed to be a different kind of grease. This is a different color, different, it's not sticky like this. It's more like motor oil, thick motor oil. And these do slide back and forth. And they do seem to have like a bearing of some sort. But also, I don't know if you can tell, these are round. the shaft is round, not straight. So we'll go ahead and pop that clip out there. That should probably fly about as far as the truck, I think, when it comes off. I already guess, right? Just need to that clip off. It still doesn't come off. So we're gonna give a little bit of heat here and smash on a little more. The one circle came out. He's over there. I want to see what the failure point was on this. Well, heat will do. It's now coming off. Not easy. She's fighting it, but she's coming. Just gonna add a little more heat. This is the proper mechanics tool. Oh, there. We got that apart. So, as I suspected, I could move this back and forth easily. There's a little C-clip in here, a little that goes through the other side of this, because this just wasn't coming out. So we'll go ahead and put this in a parts cleaner that we don't have, and I'll just take all the grease out and maybe go find some bad gas or something. Yeah, that's the basic parts. I don't think that comes off. I got the rags in there soaking up the grease, and I got that kind of draining into there. Well, it's snowing, but the birds are down there picking up the stuff that Squirrel and I spilled. Yeah, my wife said before she left, she did a lot of laundry and the floor was wet. So I did a lot of laundry, and guess what? Floor's wet. What's also interesting, it smells like sewage, which I don't shit my clothes very often. So I'm gonna mop this again. It might be overflowing, because that drain is an open drain. It's just a hose sitting in a pipe. I know I blew in that, and I can hear, air coming through. So I'm going to check that, because tearing this apart's not fun. So basically, I got to set up a platform, move all this out, move the dryer over there, unplug that, undo the stuff, and then move it. It's not fun. And then dealing with taking this apart's hard, because there's a big rubber gasket in there with a big, like a coat hanger ring spring that you have to work in there. So it's an hour to get to this, and then it's an hour to take this apart. But the reality is, if it's not that, it's probably just a hose fell off. Though I'm getting close to thinking it might be time to replace. It's 8 years old now. Okay, we've recovered. So I got a screw in there and there. I'm going into the plywood whenever possible, here and there. You can't even see back there. But when I clean this up, I'm gonna put just a light stain on there. So next one is this bad boy. You can see this is gonna pull down fine. That's not a problem. But I gotta measure the distance and cut that. Then this could be two things. So I'm gonna have to cut it to length, and then I'm gonna have to trim it. I think I'll use a hand plane down there, because as you can see, there's a gap, and then there's not a gap, and there's not a gap there. So she's kind of, but she's flush here, so it's really down there. Once I carve that out a little bit, she'll slide right. Cut to length. What's interesting is I'm almost flush there, about 1/8 of an inch here, and it comes in. So I think what we got, I'm gonna go get my yardstick out, but I think my cabinets are moving in with the wall, or this board is very unwell, but I'm pretty certain it's straight. It's hitting here, and it's hitting at the corner. But again, the corner is almost flush. So, yeah. If that is the case, I'm gonna just shim the cabinets, but I'm gonna have to, Jesus, she's got stuff in there. I'm gonna have to loosen them from the wall. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put a level across here and then measure back and see what the distance. This 2x4 is sunk in a little bit compared to the drywall, so I definitely need to shim this. It needs to come out. That makes a lot more sense. So we got shims right here. So I'm gonna have to go get a bit that fits these screws, and good thing is she didn't put anything in there yet. Fuck. I told her it was okay. I gotta get that nail out of there. Make sure I lay this flat here, whoops. You can see it's definitely sunk in a bit. definitely over here. So it's definitely this, and it's flush here. So the whole, this cabinet's in and that cabinet's in, and it kind of makes sense the way that that's not straight. So meaning, to exaggerate, it's like this. So we'll go ahead and loosen those and pop that out. I think I got one in here too. Yep, do. Ah, great. Perfect. I should have anticipated this. I'm gonna leave that be. I'm gonna put some caulk on there, and then it pops out still. I mean, I got it out a little bit, but I've also screwed these together. They're pretty sturdy. So there we go there. And my edge trim came off a little bit, so I'm gonna have to heat it up with the heat gun and put that back in there. I think I'm gonna go get the other board, start working on that, and then come back with a vacuum and clean all that up. And then I'll put a little stain on that one piece, because I can. Oh, last year, this stopped working. And I noticed that I'd open it up, the light would be on, the circuit breaker's off right now. And then if I wiggled the knob for the temperature control and moved it back and forth and tapped it, it would turn on. And it run for several days. Oh, great, now it's 40. So I bought a new thermostat like 4 months ago, but I was afraid that I had to take it apart from the back. But I noticed about a couple weeks ago, that there's a panel back here that you can take apart. So I didn't have to take it all apart to get to this. And there's all the stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and check the wiring. Everything looks to be there, and replace that sensor. It looks like this is where that bulb goes, because there's a bulb, which I believe is the sensor right here. So we'll go ahead and flip that around. It looks like it should be 2 screws on there. Well, we'll have to put down the phone and attend to this. I've been throwing in these freezer packs to keep the temperature stabilized, and then I walk by every couple of days, and if it wasn't running, I would... I'm doing this now because I've been procrastinating. It should be running right now, and it's not. I don't know why, so it's time to take care of this. The reason it wasn't running is I turned it off when I was moving the knob around. She's running right now. Fan's going. She's getting cold. This looks pretty sealed. I'm pretty sure I've ordered the unit that should fit this, but it doesn't look anything like the one I ordered or have. This one just fit in there with that little metal clip into the hole. I guess I could screw this in on the outside, but it's not even as deep. Well, there's the part number. It is making noise. I'm inclined to get this far. I'm inclined to just clean it, put it back together for now. It looks like ice. Can't tell if it is. This has not been cleaned since we turned it on in 2017. Too bad. I put the screws at the bottom and put the ones in the middle, then I bent down and did the ones at the top. That just pushed in, broke up some of the ice, cleaned the rest of the stuff off. I did notice, however, that my seal is not where it's supposed to be, and I gotta clean those, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the shelves and put some ice back in and turn around. While working on the freezer, I'm running a clean cycle. Top clean. Use these little tub washing machine tablets. I sprayed some disinfectant in the seal. So far no water's coming out, but this is soaked. This thing is, you can see when I press down on it, water comes out. Well, you can't, but I can. So we'll let that run another 30 minutes. And it's my free time to work on the freezer. It looks like I just need to loosen this bottom piece and put this right back in there. It goes in there until it's over there. Fortunately, for some reason, they're using T15s. So we found our new kit. We got our T15 out, so we're going to go ahead and lower that. It's a good thing this thing got our closes. I wish it would right back on there. That was kind of a pain in the ass. It should fill in better now. It should leak less, so that should be good. Because I don't keep the downstairs 20 degrees. So, well, that's gonna be close. Left on the cycle, it's on the rinse and spin. I don't see any water yet, so keep watching the diagnostics. You hold these two down and you go through the cycles, and I couldn't get it to leak, hence why I'm doing a load. Where it's coming from, but running a regular load definitely makes things wet. So first load I did, a lot of water came out. Second load I did was a cleaning cycle, no water came out. The third load I did was shirts, and a lot of water came out. Then I did socks, a little bit of water came out. So whatever the leak is, it's dependent on the size of the load. What my daughter's boyfriend is coming to work on his car, because I have a car lift and a warm garage and lots of tools and a head, is he's gonna help me take this off. So I'm not gonna build my support. We're gonna take this and just put it right there. I'll take this apart, fix it, great. If not, I'm ordering a new one. When it comes, put it here, take the dryer, put it there, done. I've been debating and going back and forth on getting an all-in-one, which has a lot of advantages, but has some serious disadvantages. One is you can't start a load, dry, wash, dry, wash, dry. 2, they tend to be smaller. 3, they're more complicated. 4, they take longer and take up to 3 hours on a load. The good thing is, since it's one unit, I can gain space back, and if I have to need to work on it, it's right there. And it doesn't take any air from the outside and take air from the outside, which is cold or hot, heat it up, put humidity on it, and take it outside. Every time I open this, I feel the cold, because what's happening is my house is a little too tight and it's pulling the air in from wherever I can, and it's going over here. So if I do that, I need to seal that duct, and I need to do an air-to-air exchange heat thing. Basically, it takes the heat coming out or cold air, and it makes the equal air coming in. So if it's 80 degrees in here and it's 20 degrees out there, it's going to raise the temperature up to halfway between the medium, approximately. They claim it's more efficient than that, but I don't know how. You're going to get halfway, unless there's a lot more air going out. There's math involved. There can't be more air out. That wouldn't be the point. So anyhow, they're about $600. They're a good idea, and I'd pipe it into the air handling system and just gonna move things. Gonna build a shelf, I'm pretty sure. She already suggested it before I even did this. Maybe she should have come when I called her. But I don't know how big she wants it, and she wants an outlet there, and I think I want to put the outlet into the box around it and just make a hole for the plugs. But then every time you go to unplug and plug something, you got to get out of the ladder, which you're gonna have to do anyhow, but you're gonna have to move things. I may also make it unit, which would alleviate some of that movement. So those are all the cups we never are out. That wasn't too bad. Went side person, then got it down to here. And I snuck around, and then I grabbed it from the front. He grabbed it from the back and put it here. If I determine this is dead on arrival, we'll go ahead and move this out there at some point. But I can put it on a appliance mover and out there. So still leaking. So that's great. I can't really tell where the leak is because it's this watery. So we hooked up the front. We put in this cardboard door sensor modification. So what I can do is grab my flashlight and I can put it in a demo mode. So I hold these two while turning it on, and that puts it in a demo mode. I can cycle through hot water, cold water, spin, blah, blah, blah. Probably don't intend to do this while it's working. So while we're here, this is just metal and plastic. That's the weight. And this whole thing suspends there. Basically, the sides and everything, it's unibody. So, yeah, just it flows there. It looks digitally, like lots of sensors. I do have a sensor for, I think, this, which is supposed to sense whether or not the water's draining. And I got a replacement for that. As you can see, it's hard to get to because you got to take, in my case, the top off, which requires taking that off. So we'll go ahead and do that. That should be fun. Get a mop and bucket, well, at least. I should be able to fill it up with water. Now, since it drains when there's water in there and it's not spinning. I don't need to spin it. Remember to pull the plug when I start seeing a leak. So we'll go set that up. Maybe we'll set up a cam. Little dryer out. That wasn't too bad. Went side person, then got it down to here. And I snuck around and then I grabbed it from the front. He grabbed it from the back and put it here. If I determine this is dead on arrival, we'll go ahead and move this out there at some point. But I can put it on a appliance mover and out there. So still leaking. So that's great. I can't really tell where the leak is because it's this watery. So we hooked up the front. We put in this cardboard door sensor modification. So what I can do is grab my flashlight and I can put it in a demo mode. So I hold these two while turning it on, and that puts it in a demo mode. I can cycle through hot water, cold water, spin, blah, blah, blah. Probably don't intend to do this while it's working. So while we're here, this is just metal and plastic. That's the weight. And this whole thing suspends there. Basically the sides and everything gets unibody. So yeah, just it flows there. It looks digitally, like lots of sensors. I do have a sensor for, I think, this, which is supposed to sense whether or not the water's draining. And I got a replacement for that. As you can see, it's hard to get to because you got to take, in my case, the top off, which requires taking that off. So we'll go ahead and do that. That should be fun. Get a mop and bucket, at least. I should be able to fill it up with water. Now, since it drains when there's water in there and it's not spinning, I don't need to spin it. Remember to pull the plug when I start seeing a leak. So we'll go set that up. Maybe we'll set up a cam. Well, I didn't take much. So I was wondering where I could position my camera with my light, and I noticed this. It's dripping right there. And if you look very carefully, you can see there's a hole. Enhance right there, right where my thumb is. So that's great. And it looks like it just wore it right through here. So looks like she might live to another day. What do we got here? We got a hose clamp back there, and one there, and one here. Ah, for fuck's sake. Kind of excited about getting a new one. So, yeah, oh well, go ahead and order that. Makes sense. It's draining. I mean, it would drain whenever there was water in there, not when it was spinning as much. Enhance. That's a hole. Enhance. Well, that wasn't fun, but we got her on there. She's connected. I'm gonna go ahead and fill the water up, but before I do that, I got the sensor out. This is a sensor that senses whether or not it's draining or something, and it's got a long hose and it goes way down there. I'm not quite sure where, the fitting. However, the one I ordered doesn't even, well, it doesn't have the same kind of connectors, so I'm gonna go upstairs, and I found the YouTube test how to test this. You're looking for variable voltage when you sucker blow on the tube, and see if the new one, compare the new one to the old one. If they both are the same, I'm putting the old one back. This one just screws right in there with the bracket. It was super hard to get to with this down there, but that's a different issue. I guess I could take that bracket off. Yeah, so I'll go test back together. I did a load, it didn't leak. I checked that sensor. It tested the way one YouTube video said, but it didn't test the way the others, but neither did the new one. So I put the old one back. I checked that the tube was clear. If it was failing in its entirety, it would overflow the water and it would drain forever. So it's intermittent. So I put the old one back. It's better quality than the new one. This one was a challenge, so I lifted it, tilted it back, and then I stretched my back, and then I put the rear feet up here, so it was like that, and then just lifted it up and slid it in. Then I rotated it 90 degrees so that I could fight that. Normal dryer comes out the back and a straight shoot out. Mine has a right angle and comes out that hole, and everything kind of doesn't want to fit together. Plus this metal piping has that seam, which is always you gotta fight with, and I got that connected. I did take the air blower and I blew all the lint out. So what I call a white trash lint cleaning kit. Then looked out the window and saw it stopped blowing stuff, and I stopped it. I did vacuum out a little bit. I ran one load of laundry and I didn't see a flood, so that was good. I gotta deal with this problem. These cabinets are not plywood, and you can see there's discoloration because they're soaking up the water. So after it dries, I'm gonna have to literally put some caulk on there just to kind of like seal it like a little dam. The water go down the grout line and go underneath, and then just be absorbed by the wood. So that's great. My other cabinets in the house are plywood. We bought these at Home Depot. They were on sale. It just needed something. There was thought at one point of putting a sink here. I guess I still could. It is a sink basin. So I'm gonna let that finish, and I've done all my laundry this weekend. Some of it painfully. And vacuum up the water as it went.